You know, sometimes an idea that feels like it belongs in a history book gets dusted off and thrown right into the middle of a modern-day showdown. Well, that's exactly what's happening with a 200-year-old American policy, and this isn't playing out somewhere far away. It's happening right next door, in the Americas.
And get this message from just a few months ago isn't some polite little throwback. Nope, it's a bold declaration of a very different future for U.S. policy in its own neighborhood. It's a line in the sand, and there's no question who it's aimed at: China.
So that's the big question we're diving into. What exactly is this policy that's suddenly been brought back to life? And how is it turning the Americas into a new front line? A new battlefield, really, in the biggest geopolitical contest of our time.
Okay, let's get right into it. We'll start with what's happening right now, the official revival and, well, total reimagining of the Monroe Doctrine.
Now, this isn't just talk. We're talking about official, written-down policy in the brand-new national security strategy. It's a whole new chapter for this old doctrine, and it all boils down to one simple, powerful idea. America will be the top dog, the unchallenged power in its home region.
So, take a look at these goals. Sure, restoring preeminence, we get that. But here's where it gets really, really interesting and kind of radical. See how they're linking big geopolitical stuff like China controlling a port with domestic issues like migration and drug flows? That's a huge shift. It basically gives a green light to use the military for things that were never really on the table before, like going after so-called narco-terrorist networks out on the ocean.
But to really grasp how big of a deal this new policy is, we gotta rewind a bit. Go back to the very beginning. What even was the Monroe Doctrine in the first place?
Okay, picture this. It's 1823. President James Monroe basically draws a line in the sand. He tells the big European empires, hey, you see the Americas? They're independent now. Your colonization days are over here. Stay out. It was a really bold move, especially since the U.S. was, let's be honest, a pretty young and weak nation at the time. It was all about protecting their own backyard.
But that defensive keep-out sign, well, it didn't stay that way for long. Look at this timeline. Fast forward to 1904, and Teddy Roosevelt comes along and adds his own famous twist. Suddenly, it's not just stay out, it's we have the right to come in and act as the region's police. Then, boom, the Cuban Missile Crisis. It's used to tell the Soviets to get their missiles out of Cuba. And that brings us right back to today, to 2025, where it's being revived to take on a whole new rival. Okay, so the US is making its big move. But here's the thing. It's not happening in a vacuum. The main reason for all this, China, has been playing its own long game in the Americas.
All right, just look at this number, 9,332. Any guesses what that is? It's not about money or people or distance. It's something way more revealing about what China's been up to.
That's the character count of China's latest policy paper on Latin America. Now look at this chart. That's not just a little bump in interest. That is a huge strategic surge. It's proof that while America was focused on other parts of the world, China was quietly and systematically building influence right in the U.S.'s backyard.
So, what's China's big idea here? Well, you'll hear this phrase a lot, a community with a shared future. And you might think, well, that sounds nice, but it's way more than just diplomatic fluff. Many experts see this as China's actual blueprint for a whole new world order, an order that's a lot more comfortable with Beijing's style of government and its core interests.
And they are not messing around. They have this whole 5-part plan to make it happen. You've got economics, culture, security, the whole shebang. But look at what's number one on the list. The Solidarity Program, the political stuff. That tells you everything you need to know. For Beijing, the money, the new roads, the ports, that's all a means to an end. The real prize is political alignment.
So now we've got this incredible showdown, right? Two superpowers making two completely different sales pitches to the exact same audience. Let's break it down and put them right next to each other.
I mean, look at this. You couldn't get more different. The U.S. pitch is all about security and, let's face it, control. It's, we're in charge and we'll keep things stable. On the other side, China's coming in talking about economics. It's, let us help you develop. Let's build things together. They're selling prosperity with their giant Belt and Road projects, all while promising to stay out of your local politics.
But, and this is a huge but, that promise of non-interference comes with one absolutely non-negotiable price tag. This quote lays it out in black and white. If you want to do business with Beijing, you have to break ties with Taiwan. Period. It's not a suggestion, it's the cost of admission.
And that brings us to our next number, 7. That's it. That's how many countries in the entire region still officially recognize Taiwan. Just since 2016, China has successfully convinced 9 other countries to switch sides. So you can bet those remaining 7 are feeling some serious pressure right now.
Okay, so we've got these 2 giants circling, making their offers. What if you're one of the countries caught in the middle? How on earth do you play this? It is an incredibly tough spot to be in. On one hand, you've got this long, complicated history with the US and its interventions. So when this new muscular doctrine comes along, it brings back some not so great memories for a lot of people. But then here comes China with what feels like endless cash, offering to build roads, ports, you name it. The billion-dollar question for these leaders is, how do you take the good from both sides without getting crushed in the process?
And this isn't just a theory, it's happening right now. The U.S. is using both carrots and sticks. For Argentina, a huge $40 billion bailout offer seems to have worked, making President Milei a close U.S. ally. But then you look at Colombia. U.S. sanctions there got a very different reaction. And then there's the giant of the region, Brazil. Hit them with huge tariffs, and what happens? They just start looking for other friends. It's a real mixed bag of results.
Okay, let's zoom out for the big picture. Why should someone in, say, Europe or Asia care about any of this? Why does it matter to everyone?
Because what we're seeing here, this isn't just a regional squabble. It's a preview. It's the entire global competition between the US and China played out in miniature. You have America's "we're in charge" vision clashing with China's "let's build a new future together" vision. Whoever comes out on top here could basically write the playbook for how this rivalry is going to unfold everywhere else on the planet.
And the stakes could not be higher. I mean, listen to this warning from the experts at Chatham House. They're saying, if this push for dominance isn't handled carefully, it could just devolve into threats, bullying, and maybe even real, violent conflict. And that is a recipe for chaos.
Which leaves us with the ultimate question. For the first time in a long time, nations in the Americas have real options. They're not just stuck with one superpower. So will this competition be good for them? Will it give them more power, more choices? Or will they just get caught in the crossfire of an old rivalry with new players, fracturing the hemisphere all over again? The truth is, nobody knows yet. That story is being written as we speak.